May 24th, 2022, 19 children and 2 adults lost their lives when a gunman entered into Robb Elementary School. Yes, it's been a year, but for those that lost someone or were injured, it's felt like a lifetime of grief, sorrow, and emptiness. These people have allowed me to step into their lives, to get a glimpse of what they're going through, and I'm honored to share their stories with you. What you're about to see is raw, unfiltered, and real emotion. It's at times both heartbreaking and heartwarming, and you won't see anything else like it. We start with teacher Arnulfo Reyes, the only adult who can truly tell us what happened on that day inside rooms 111 and 112. Shot twice, he lives with the physical scars of that day, but also the mental scars of knowing he lost all of his students.
Thank you for coming. The first thing is the mission statement. As we begin to get more members, we really want to let them know who we are.
The Tabernacle of Worship in Uvalde, once a restaurant, now a bilingual church, an occasional meeting spot for those hoping to enact change.
But the biggest thing I see is engagement. You know, we got like almost 500 members on Facebook.
Anything that I'm involved in, you know, that helps me get my voice out there, it most definitely helps, you know.
Karma is a fitting name for this group, and whether it's here or on a back porch, whether it's 20 people or just 3, you'll probably find Arnulfo Reyes speaking his mind and not holding back.
You know, we were there.
Yeah.
We know what happened.
Did they reach out to you?
No.
People will tell you Arnie's always had a personality. Quick with the joke, a smile stretched widely across his face. But May 24th, 2022 changed that. It changed a lot of things.
I implore you to stand with me and be the voice for those whose voices were robbed from them.
As quick as he is to speak up and speak out,
Help me be the voice of change.
he's kept details from that day mostly to himself. Until now.
The awards ceremony was going to happen that day, and so kids were going to watch a movie, and I was going to work on grades, you know, all the end of the school year stuff. We go to the cafeteria, and we are there for the awards, and, you know, some of my students go home with their parents. Some of them got signed out, and 11 of them stayed with me that day.
That's when a typical end-of-year school day became anything but.
All of a sudden, we just hear the loud noises, and as they got, you know, closer and closer, I was confused as to what it was. But when I look at the walls, I mean, and I start seeing like pieces of wall fall, and that's when it hit me, like, those are gunshots, and they're right there next door, like.
The shooter was already firing his weapon inside the adjoining classroom. Room 112.
I mean, the kids were already asking me, you know, what's going on, and I'm like, I don't know. So they went under the table, and I told them, close your eyes. And when I went around to get in my spot, in my position, that's when I saw him standing by the doorway, and I just saw a shadow because he was dressed in black. And I see the fire come out of the gun, and that's when he hit me in the arm, and he shoots under the tables. I laid there, and then that's when I could hear him on top of my desk putting the like metal stuff on top of it, you know. That's what I figured that it was. Like, it was the magazine, and he was like maybe taking that one out, putting another one in. So after he does that, that's when he starts checking me to see if I'm alive. And the first thing that he did was, you know, pour my water on me, on my back.
And try to get you to flinch.
Try to get me to flinch. I had my eyes closed, but I could still see a little bit. Like, I could just see the puddle that was there. And then, like, later on, I looked again, and it was bigger. The blood, the puddle of blood was bigger.
And he was flicking it in your face.
Yeah, and he was, like, splashing it in my face like that. Just, yeah.
Bleeding out, Arnulfo Reyes and the others inside those classrooms waited for help, waited in silence. They never had a chance, did they?
No, because one of the students from the next door said, talked, and she yelled, officers come in here, we're in here. And I just hoped that he wouldn't go over there, and he went over there. And he shot more over there.
It took law enforcement 117 minutes to breach the doors of room 112. Arnie spent that time praying.
After he shot me for the second time on my back, and I asked God to take me, if he's gonna take me, but if I didn't make it, I was not gonna let my students die in vain.
He's asked why. Why him?
At the beginning, there was a lot of survivor's guilt. Miss Garcia and Miss Mireles died. I mean, I just can't understand that. Miss Mireles, I mean, she was full of life. And she had a daughter. Miss Garcia had 4 kids. And I'm like, I don't have anybody. Like, I don't have no kids, personal kids. So it's like, I would think, like, why didn't you take me?
How many surgeries is that now?
Including everything, it's been 11 overall surgeries.
11 overall surgeries. Arnulfo Reyes is trying to rebuild his life, but
Okay.
he's not sure he can. Do you foresee a day when it ever goes away?
Probably not. It'll probably always be with me. It'll always be with me.
Arnulfo isn't the only person affected by May 24, 2022 to want change, to want justice, and to want something different. We'll hear more from the families after the break. This is called the town square, or the plaza, but really it's become a makeshift memorial for the 19 children and 2 adults that were killed at Robb Elementary School last May. The families of the victims still come to these crosses. They place flowers or trinkets, put something down to remind them of their loved one or remind others of who their loved one was. But in reality, the emotions they've gone through over the past year, no one can understand except them. I talked with 2 families that take us through what they've been through in the last year and how they've changed from one spring until the next. The tree, a symbol of rebirth, growth. Tree's growing.
It's growing, and then we added a second tree because I'm impatient and I wanted a big tree.
But as symbolic as it is, growth isn't an option for Kim and Felix Rubio.
I think I see it more as like a mark for time, and it's when you try to avoid thinking about the fact that it's been a year, it's kind of right in front of you that this tree that we planted has really matured. It's hard.
Hard to think back on.
I was supposed to pick her up after school. I never got to.
Hard to move on from.
Coming out here, maybe she'll pick me up.
Hard to know what each and every day will bring.
I can wake up and feel like this is a okay day. I'm going to get a lot of stuff done, and then something happens. There's some sort of thought, or there's just a complete change in my emotions, and nothing gets done that day. I'm back to the couch, back to my bed.
Get him, Mingo, get him! Get him, Mingo!
The Cazares family has plenty of memories to look back on when it comes to Jackie.
Angels east to angels west, north and south, please do your best. Watch me and protect me while I rest. Amen.
Some good times.
And then just the I love you to the moon and back is just something we've always said too.
And some heartbreaking times.
This one was actually the day before. That was one of the last pictures.
Come here. Oh, you're just a big baby.
Much like the Rubios, they never know what the sunrise will bring.
There is, we have our good days and our bad days. Now, getting closer to the date has been more bad than good.
And the bad isn't getting better.
There's nothing that's ever going to be able to fix it. And it's just getting worse. It's not getting any easier because you just miss them so much more. It's like it's just each day it's getting further and further from the last time that we saw her. You hugged her, you told her you love her.
I mean, that's one thing that kind of makes you lose hope a little bit, is seeing that families have been doing this for years and years and years. I mean, we've only been doing this a year. I'm tired and I'm over it.
Both families have had their separate journeys, but their paths have come together.
I never envisioned this for myself. I was perfectly content just living a small life with my family. That was taken away from me.
We need change now. When is enough enough? If not my child, whose? If not now, when?
This is the person I am now, and I fight for change, and I want to honor Lexi's legacy. I want to honor her life with action.
Not one more! Not one more!
They fight for change.
Enough is enough!
They fight for their kids. But their fight goes beyond that.
1 year ago today, my daughter had a communion. About a month later, she was buried in that same dress. A couple days after that was her birthday, her 10th birthday. So Mr. Guillen, and anybody else who's stopping this bill from passing, it's sad to say, but more blood will be on your hands. Thank you.
I'm so sorry I'm not strong today. Maybe that's what y'all need to see. Because at the end of every day, I'm just a mom who wants my daughter back. And a mom who doesn't want another mom to know my pain.
They've drawn a line in the sand. But as the weeks and months have passed, people have stepped back from that line. Stepped back from their fight.
There's this frustration. There's people in the community that want to move on already. They don't want the town to be remembered for just this tragedy. And they can move on. We can't. And I think that's where the divide starts.
Their numbers may have lessened, but their passion has not, and will not, because it cannot.
And I feel that I've failed her, and I blame myself not being able to protect her. As a dad, I think she still wants me to do this for her friends, the survivors, all children. So that's something that I can't ever let go.
The tree, a symbol of rebirth, growth, but not here, not right now, not in this town, and certainly not for these two grieving families. Is there a finish line?
No. The finish line is once I'm laying over there.
The fight will continue, but don't call it growth. They don't have the strength to grow. Not yet. Maybe. Not ever again. As the families of the victims continue to find their footing and search for what the future looks like, there's another group that also is pointed towards the future. The survivors. The kids that made it out of room 112. Coming up, we'll hear from them. For the past year now, we've really talked with the families of the victims, hearing their stories, the trauma that they've endured, the anger that they've experienced, the change that they'd like to see made. But there's another group that we haven't talked much to at all, until now. The survivors, the children, the kids from room 112, who walked away and have stories to tell and a future to live. To watch these kids laugh, play, and just enjoy each other's company, you'd never know what they've been through. But they know. They'll always know what it was like to be in room 112 of Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022. I know there's 4 here, but how many are you?
There's 11.
Just from room 112?
Yeah, just 11.
AJ, Kendall, Gilbert, and Mia. 4 of those 11 that are still here. But sadly, they're also still there, in that room.
We don't want to have memories to flow back in our brain.
Is that ever going to leave your brain?
No, it's trauma.
So what's trauma?
It's something that, it's an event that happens to you that sticks to you.
That's trauma. You have trauma.
And PTSD.
By now, they're used to questions from people like me. Are you guys okay?
Mm-hmm. Little bad, little okay.
Little bad, little okay? What does that mean?
Like, it's been alright.
But the truth still sneaks through the walls they put up.
I get anxiety when I go to stores and when I'm in big crowds.
When someone's like screaming or something, like what's causing anxiety, or my heart just stops.
When someone's screaming?
Yeah. Like someone's screaming or something like that. It like does that.
Does what?
Stops my heart.
It what?
Stops my heart.
It stops your heart.
Yeah.
Surviving is one thing, but fighting to survive is heroic. Mia Cirillo's actions that day make her a hero.
One of the girls that was on the 911 call, trying to make everybody notice that there were still kids breathing, but the officer didn't ever go in.
Where did she get the phone?
Miss Mireles' phone. Her and another little girl, they brainstormed how to get the phone and they got it and they called 911.
She's okay with the recognition. Are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with being known as a hero? Were you heroic that day? Why?
Because they called 911.
But it doesn't erase her memories, and it doesn't chase away the fear.
She even told us ourselves that we better please don't send my little brother to school because I don't want nothing to happen to him.
Oh, he landed it.
These kids have become like family.
It's a bond that they have, that they take care of each other. That's their family. They're like brothers and sisters now, you know. I came to visit, see him the next.
But it's not just them. These families meet up every day, sharing meals, sharing stories, sharing time.
Now that they're together and happy, it's a lot for us. It gives us joy to see them grow and play and be kids again.
A semblance of normalcy in a world that will never be normal again. Just under a year ago, I stood in this exact same spot in Uvalde and went on live television. I had the story of two little girls, survivors of the attack at Robb Elementary School. And one of the little second graders looked me in the eye and she said, "I didn't know if I was going to make it." My heart fluttered, and it still flutters today. I told you, the viewer, these were things you had to hear, you had to see, and you had to remember. Turns out, it still holds true today. Because these families, these people, and these kids, yes, are broken. And they're hurting. And there's no end in sight. I hope the last 30 minutes has touched you as much as the last year being out here has touched me. We can make a difference.